Hey Jess,
Hello.
we got some questions in the DMs.
Let's do this.
Where are you from and what do you do?
So I think I briefly talked about this. I was born in Taiwan and then I spent a huge amount of time in the US. So I identify myself as Taiwanese American. So outside of podcast, my day job, I am a creative director at an advertising agency.
In both New York and Taiwan,
Mm.
when do you feel most like yourself?
I think I feel the most of myself is probably in New York. I do show a lot of characters that's pretty Taiwanese, but I would say I'm more comfortable being myself in New York.
What was your childhood dream? Does it have any connection to what you do now?
My childhood dreams. As a child, my mind was pretty busy because I wanted to do a lot of things. I would say it does relate heavily with what I'm doing now because I've always been into arts and performing arts and, like film productions. And being in advertising is as close as I can get. Yeah.
With your multicultural background, is there anything you're particularly mindful of in communication?
Oh, yes, a lot. I try to keep emphasizing and still emphasize that everything that I'm trying to share with the world is based on personal experience. I feel like I don't want what I put out there or the communications I trying to establish being too academic based, but more it's about personal experience and personal story.
As a creative director, what moments feel the most rewarding for you?
I do think my job is to create that guidance and then that safety net for people to do what they're good at. So the most rewarding part is really to see any ideas to come to life because of how the team work together. So that would always be the most rewarding part to me.
What do you find most interesting about doing creative work in Japan?
Ooh, I'm still learning, and then I've been learning a lot working in a creative industry in Japan. I feel like when you put a group of people who are trying to achieve the same creative goal, but with limited resources, people start to really trying to push for their visions in a very unexpected way. And also, that also forced people to put attitudes aside and just with a very pure attitude trying to work together. So that to me is very fascinating and still fascinating to me.
When you hit the creative block, how
Mm.
do you overcome it?
Creative block. I get asked this a lot. I usually don't believe in creative block because I do believe in fatigue. So when you feel that you're in a creative fatigue stage, you just need to step away from what you were creating. I feel like that's very important for a lot of people to recognize and realize is stepping away doesn't mean you're wasting time or losing time, is actually allowing you to have more space for more inspiration to come in. So that will be the piece of advice I always give people.
What challenges would you like to take on as a creative director in the future?
I think the challenge is ongoing is to really open myself up to work with different types of people, from different backgrounds, having different visions, from all sides. So it's not just creative, but people in general, or any brands or any clients, any services that I will be part of. I think a good things about being a creative is to really have the opportunity to work with different mediums and different materials and resources, right? So I think that will be the ongoing thing for me as a creative.
What has surprised or stood out to you the most about living in Japan?
Mentality. I feel like in Japan, I've always felt this. I feel like in Japan, there's a way to allow people to have this moment of explosions in how they express. So even though on daily basis it's pretty on the monochromatic side, um, people do have a way to express to the most extreme, which is also always so fascinating to me.
Do you have a favorite place in Japan or a recommended way to spend time here?
I think Japan overall is my favorite place. I would say that because you do have the peace of mind types of privilege to enjoy every single details wherever you go, and whatever streets you're walking on, as long as you're intentional about where you're at in this country, you can always find something that you count as your favorite.
Has living in Japan changed your way of thinking or values in any way?
Yes. I would say 3 years ago when I just moved to Japan, I was pretty aggressive in trying to apply my thinking onto others, or trying to apply my types of value onto others. But in Japan, I think it's less about Japan, but more about being in different culture. Really reinforced me to be more generous and more graceful and more objective in receiving other perspectives. So, yeah.
Is there an aspect of Japanese culture that you particularly connect with or find fascinating?
There's a lot. I think recently, especially recently, because I was preparing something that I had to present in Japanese, and then my friend was helping me or practicing with me. So she was like trying to teach me not just like grammatically correct, but more native way of structuring the sentence. And then that was a reminder of me like having this feeling of, I feel like language itself is so poetic, and then it comes from culture. Like a language is built by culture. So that's always like such a thing for me in terms of Japanese as a language or as a culture. So that part of it, I always feel like I want to resonate with more. Yeah.
Do you have specific techniques or habits for learning languages?
My way of learning language is pretty unique because I've never, like, going to class is never a thing for me. It doesn't register in my brain the same way. So my way is really to dive into the environments and really surround yourself with the elements that's directly from the culture, right? So whether it's English or Japanese, I watch a lot of shows or a lot of movies. I listen to a lot of music, and then I also watch their TV programs, and then I learn language through those resources. So that will be the tips. Is also be shameless when you're practicing, because no one's gonna crack a language perfectly, and not even native speakers, right? But that's okay, because the whole point is to communicate. As long as you can deliver your message, people can receive that message. I think that's the key point. So with that in mind, that's how I will learn their language and encourage people to learn their language.
How do you refresh or distress when you are feeling overwhelmed?
I go do something else or be okay with just rest. I used to be very guilty, feeling very guilty about taking a break. But later on, I learned to be okay with it. And actually, every time when I take a break, I function faster. I can think faster. I can work more efficiently.
What is one thing you absolutely won't compromise on? You're non negotiable.
I will never compromise whenever people tell me not to share my voice and or to dim any other's light. That's non-negotiable.
Is there something you're currently hooked on or passionate about in your personal life?
This, my podcast. It's something that I'm passionate about, and then I feel like I will always be passionate about, and then I'm like really lucky I have a team that share the same passion. So that's really a blessing. It's been a blessing. Yeah.
What inspired you to start Behind the Yellow Curtain?
It's like couple years of working in the work and also finding the right people that share the same vision. So what inspired me is really when I was in the States, it's an environment where everyone wants to have a conversation. And I feel like a lot of conversation will be talked about more than others. And the things that we are trying to build on this podcast is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about openly. So that's what inspired me to create this, or as a part of the creation.
Through this podcast, what do you hope to share or communicate with listeners?
Hopefully, people can really trust us when we say this is an open conversation. Like I feel like it's very important for us to create a community out of this podcast. That's always been the goal and mission. It's not just for people to hear and feel like they are not part of it. I really hope the listeners can feel they can at any time, any moments, make any comments, and then we will respond and we will have a conversation with everyone.
What's the most fun or the most challenging part of creating this show?
It's something that I've been thinking on, which is it's very hard to do something you're passionate about without needing to consider we're in a capitalist world, meaning that if you want to do something right, you also have to consider the logistic and then the realistic side of it. And I feel like that's often sometimes that create a more stressful process for us. However, I feel like again I need to emphasize because we all share the same passion. So everyone still get to or have the ability to have fun within that box, which is very, very beautiful. So yeah.
What kind of show do you hope Behind the Yellow Curtain will become in the future?
I would imagine Behind the Yellow Curtain to become not just a platform of one or two, but a platform for all. In my head, I would picture instead of like going to a karaoke with just two people, it will be like a whole dance floor filled with people that sharing the same music. That was like the 20 questions or rapid questions I just asked. And to run it up, I really want to emphasize that without you and without everyone behind the camera, and then including myself, I'm just like one of the team. None of this will happen. We won't be able to share our voices. We won't be able to like share our vision. So thank you for your support, and I really hope that this will get blow up, not in a like a celebrity or entertaining way, but more like people will feel or see it as a safe space for them to express as well. So thank you. Thank you.